he'd bring me in his office and he'd say, Bill, next week we're going to operate on Mrs. So-and-so and we're going to put the pedicle screws in. And he would tell me, he said, we're going to go right down here at the edge of the transverse process and the facet joint, and that's called the mammary process. And we're going to get a rongeur, and a rongeur is kind of like a nipping tool that bites bone. We're going to bite off a piece of bone, and then we're going to take a cervical curette, that's a fine instrument with a little spoon on it, and go down through the spine, and then we're going to put a wire in and get an x-ray. And so that's what we did. And he did that. I was assisting him on that case, and put the wire in, the first, the second, third, fourth wires, and then we had to get an x-ray. Now back then, we were limited in technology. Today we have navigation, and everything's computer assisted. It's just like GPS. It's crazy good. Well, back there, we only had an x-ray machine. So we put the wires into the spine, and then wheeled in the portable x-ray machine into the operating room. And they had to take an x-ray from back to front, so they had to put the x-ray plate under the patient, and then they had to take another x-ray on the side. And then of course, the x-ray has to be developed. So you had to run downstairs, another flight or two to the x-ray department, develop the x-ray, run it back upstairs, put it on the board, and we had to sit there and look and see if we got the x-ray, put the wires in the right place. The wires were in the right place. So you take one wire out, put the screw in, take the second wire out, put the screw in, then the third, and then the fourth, put the screws in, and guess what? You gotta get another set of x-rays. So you come in, the x-ray from the front, and then first you have to drape the patient so the patient doesn't get infected. It's all sterile. You put the plate underneath the patient and bring the x-ray machine in. You gotta center it, and everybody steps out of x-rays taken. Pull the plate out. Then you have to set up for the second x-ray on the side. They have to move the machine over. They have to change the direction of the machine. And it takes time. In the meantime, the patient's incision is open. We irrigate it and make sure that we don't want to get infected. But the patient's still under anesthesia, and they're still slowly losing a bit of blood. And then the second x-ray. Of course, they got to take those x-rays downstairs again and bring it back up. So that's one of the reasons it took so long. Now, we were able to become more efficient over time, so that an operation that originally took, say, 5 or 6 hours maybe ended up being 4.5 hours. But just the same, we were limited by the technology. And that was the kind of, I'll say, primitive way but was the only way we could do it. And that's how pedicle screws started in Buffalo, New York, and across the United States.